Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a vintage Fender Super Reverb amplifier. This one comes from my personal collection. I used it for a lot of shows for a while, but it's overdue for a service, so we're going to go ahead and take a look, see what it needs. Let's take a look at the back. Okay, so looking at the back of the chassis, we can go to the serial number. We can actually see a tag here. This was serviced by what does that say? Village Music in Edmonds at some point. Which is funny because I bought this online, but that's relatively nearby. We've got a chassis serial number A45671, which places this in the 1970 range, which is what I remember about this. We can also look at the speakers. It's got original speakers, the date codes. Let's look at this guy here. It'll be upside down, but that 137 here indicates these are the CTS speakers. This is a 6924, so 1969, 24th week. They all have similar date codes on them. All original speakers. And there's that guy. Okay. Yeah, so let's go ahead and pull the chassis. From what I recall, this thing works totally fine. I was using it for shows. I just haven't used it in a while, and I know it definitely needs some service because I didn't do any work to it after I bought it. So let's pull the chassis, see what's inside. Okay, so we got the chassis on the bench. We can see one thing that's pretty obvious that I remember specifically from this, but we do have a reproduction transformer on there. It is a Fender branded output transformer. I remember that specifically because when I bought this, I double checked with the buyer, or with the seller rather, to ensure that all of the transformers were original. That was my one condition for the sale. He assured me that it was. It showed up. And this was not original. But that's okay. It sounds really good. I probably could not tell the difference in a blind sound test. But all the other transformers are original. You can see this is a 6069. That digit indicates the ones digit of the amp year. So that's a 69 transformer, 23rd week. 606 indicates the transformer brand. And then same on these guys. This one's a little worn out, but it is indeed a 606 and then a 929. And then our reverb driver over here, 606 912. Yeah, and then I believe the 606 indicates that these are Schumacher transformers. So if somebody knows differently, maybe it's another date code on here. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with the capacitors in the doghouse, and then we'll move to the other side of the chassis. So essentially what's going on here is I have too many amps, which is a very good problem to have. But I am now taking some of these amps that I like a lot and starting to evaluate what kind of work they would need. And I actually think I'm going to start a series pitting a couple amps against each other one at a time, and we'll hopefully get you guys to help me decide which one to keep in that scenario. Okay. Oh, nice. We got F&Ts in here. Yeah, I did not do this work. I don't think I worked on this guy. Although, because I don't think I would have put so much silicone on there in that way. It's pretty messy on this other side. I'll give you a closer look here. It's borderline excessive, although a little too much is better than not enough. I prefer to put just a little bit on the underside. It doesn't hurt the fiberboard. But at least there's good caps in there, so we know that. And the solder joints look okay. Yeah. I would probably, if I'm keeping this, well, we could probably check the date code on these. and then see if they're worth replacing, or just maybe pulling and reworking the silicone to be a little bit tidier, replacing these with some metal oxide resistors, as well as the guys under there. I believe those are 220Ks. But yeah, those can stand to, you can always change these out for slightly higher wattage, and then also metal oxide, which are flame proof and much more stable under high temperatures. It's not going to affect the tone at all. So let's flip this thing over and see what's going on in the actual chassis, and we'll go from there. Okay, here are more pieces of evidence for me to realize that I did not do the work on this. Now, it does have Sprague Atom bypass caps installed, which is good. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at them. They're floating pretty high off the board, which is not how I typically would do that. Now, these are not heavy enough that they're going to have excess strain on themselves like the filter caps would without the support of silicone. However, there's no reason to not just put these closer to the board and have them supported not just by the solder joints themselves. It's excess strain on the solder joint. These seem to all be done that way. You can set those right against those resistors. They'll be totally fine. And all of them seem to be done that way. I definitely did not do this modification. This is probably a hum balance / bias mod so that you have both. I could be wrong, but it looks like this top pot is there for, because you can see this resistor goes to ground. So this looks like a bias mod here, whereas this pot has equal sized resistors on either side, going to the outer legs of the potentiometer. So that indicates it is most likely a hum balance, where it's basically splitting how much heater voltage goes to each side of the tubes in the amp. And another indication, I would never do filter caps without replacing the bias pot, bias cap. The bias cap here is one of the most important capacitors in the amplifier. If your bias goes out, it's going to kill your tubes, which is not a good thing. It is arguably more sensitive. Let me know if you have different opinions on that, but I would say if you could only change out filter caps or the bias cap, change out the bias cap and then do the filter caps. But I always do them at the same time. We're definitely going to need new grid stopper and grid leaks. Grid stopper and I guess screen resistors there. Those big carbon comps there just cannot handle the heat in these amps right against the tubes. You want to get some metal oxides in there for those guys. They're fine until they wear out, but they will wear out from the excess heat, and then they will crack in half, which I have had happen, and then you have no signal, and you maybe take out your tube with it. So, and then this is interesting. So this is a common mod, but this is just a switching pot on the intensity knob for the tremolo. So if you're not using the tremolo circuit, this will actually just switch off that circuit, and then you arguably have more power on tap if you're not powering the oscillator. Now, I don't know if that's something you can hear the difference on, but it is a pretty common mod that people do, and it seems to be something people like. It was a pretty hot thing to do to these kind of amps for a number of years in the early to mid 2000s and 2010s. Okay, somebody did replace the power cable here. I would do this differently. This green wire is strained to the point where it is the weak link there. This green wire should be the longest cable of the three coming in, and should go to its own dedicated ground, not just to, I guess it is technically a dedicated ground, but putting it on a transformer lug like that, these lugs, this is the heaviest component in the amp, so these can or are the most likely bolt to come a little bit loose. People will touch those up with some solder to try to keep them secure, but really ideally, this goes to its own point. Okay. Plate resistors probably could stand to be changed out. Looks like these two are new, actually. So something may have happened there, because they're the correct value for stock. Those are still 100Ks, but these are smaller and look like newer carbon comp resistors. Okay, so to get this amp to my level of what I would want for it to be, if I were keeping it, I'm looking at a new power cable. I'm looking at reworking some of the grounding for the power tube sockets. I believe, yeah, I remember this guide needs to be retensioned at best and replaced at worst. I don't know if that's the case for all the power tube sockets. This one's definitely the worst. I think that's the one thing I did was retension this, because when I got it, this rectifier tube just fell out when I was playing a show, which was fun. We're looking at new bias cap. We're looking at fixing the filter caps at best, changing them out at worst. Maybe doing this mod a little bit cleaner, or just converting it to one or the other. Don't really need the hum balance if we just do a fixed floating point for that. And I'm okay with this mod. That's not super bad or anything like that. I probably wouldn't use it. I like the tremolo on these amps enough that I would use it. I probably would keep these caps but rework them. Luckily, doing it this way keeps the legs long enough that you don't need new caps in there. You just need to trim them down. Probably would replace the plate resistors, just because these are a really big source of background ground noise. Or I guess it would be Johnson noise, technically. It's what they call that. Just the thermal noise that exists from current going through resistors. Not to get too technical here. But I think that's probably it, outside of doing a sound test and making sure that the tremolo circuit is as good as I want it to be. Because again, I do really like the tremolo in these amplifiers. So not too bad. Okay, let's see. Maybe we'll fire this thing up and just do a quick sound test, just to make sure that it is making sound still. And I'll just leave it on the bench and use my test speaker cabinet for that, not in the stock cabinet. Yeah, let's do that and see what's going on. I guess one other glaringly obvious thing I should point out is this is a replacement panel. This should be a silver face panel. This being a late 69, early 70, most likely was sold in 1970, so it would be considered a 1970 amp, since it does have the chassis that associates with that. So yeah, this would be a silver face right outside of the drip edge era, as we call it, because it doesn't have that grill, or it did at one point have that and was replaced. But I would guess this is right after drip edge, silver face. So I've actually been on the hunt for a original silver face panel. Bought one, and then it turned out to be the wrong one because it had a master volume or something on there. I didn't catch that when I bought it. I think I actually have it right here. Yeah, it's got a master volume. So if anybody's got one of these and they want to trade a faceplate, I have a master volume silver face, period correct. But I need one that doesn't have the master volume on it. Okay, let's fire this thing up. Okay, so a couple things did pop up from the sound test that I didn't remember. A couple of these knobs definitely need to be cleaned, but I believe they just need a cleaning. They were sticky, but didn't have any dead spots, like the carbon trace has been worn out. Also, the intensity for the tremolo did not kick in until around 8, and then we would get tremolo. So we need to check out the tremolo circuit here. Could be a number of things, anything from just replacing the tube to maybe setting up a different bias circuit for the actual tube itself, or even just modifying the circuit with a different capacitor there. So we'll definitely dive into that. I'm going to put together a parts list to get an estimate of how much work and money it would take to get this thing up to my standards. And then before I actually do that work, we're going to have another video, amp versus amp, where we put this amplifier up against the twin reverb reissue that I just worked on that I also own. I'm only going to keep one. I'm going to let you guys help decide which one I keep, which one I sell, and whether or not I should do the work on those before I sell the one that I'm going to sell, or just sell as is. So keep an eye out for that. Either way, this is a 1970 Super Reverb. Needs a little bit of work, but not too bad. And these are a joy to work on. So definitely we'll get this guy a little bit of attention in the coming weeks. All right, as always, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a great evening. We'll see you on the next one.